Welcome to a journey into the fascinating world of coins, where history, artistry, and value combine to transform the most ordinary-looking pieces of money into some of the most extraordinary treasures ever discovered. Today we are going to talk about one of the most important coins in modern American numismatics, the Liberty Quarter Dollar from the year 1980, a coin that millions of people have spent, saved, or overlooked without knowing that certain rare examples of this very coin have the power to change lives. Yes, the 1980 Liberty Quarter Dollar, in its rarest and most remarkable forms, has been valued in the collector's market at figures reaching as high as $92 million. That is not a small increase from its face value of just 25 cents, but a story that proves how hidden gems can be waiting in the most unexpected places. The 1980 quarter belongs to the Washington Quarter series, a design first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It features the powerful portrait of Washington on the obverse, the word liberty above his head, the motto "In God We Trust" to the left, and the date below. The reverse at this time carried the classic heraldic eagle design, an eagle with wings spread wide clutching arrows of strength and an olive branch of peace. This design had been used for decades and was struck into billions of coins, making it one of the most recognizable American coins of the 20th century, but here is where the story grows fascinating. By the late 1970s and into 1980, the United States Mint was transitioning into a new era of production. Inflation and rising costs of metal had already changed the composition of the quarter in 1965, removing silver and replacing it with a copper nickel-clad planchet. By 1980 the nation was experiencing economic challenges, but the Mint continued producing quarters in massive quantities at Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Most of these quarters went straight into circulation, where they wore down with years of use. But as with all coins, a small handful survived in extraordinary condition, untouched, uncirculated, and in some cases struck with unusual minting errors that made them treasures. The 1980 quarter does not immediately strike the average person as a rare coin, but to a collector it holds endless potential. Imagine holding a coin more than 40 years old that still gleams with its original mint luster, with every detail of Washington's hair crisp and sharp, with the eagle's feathers on the reverse looking as if they had just been struck yesterday. Such coins, graded at the very highest mint state levels, are incredibly rare and are worth thousands of dollars even without any error. When you add unusual minting varieties or dramatic errors, the value can soar to unimaginable heights. What kind of errors could make the 1980 Liberty Quarter Dollar worth such a staggering amount? The world of minting is full of unexpected accidents. Double dies are one of the most famous, where the design elements such as the word liberty, the motto, or the date appear doubled because of a hubbing error. Some 1980 quarters have been found with clear doubling, which immediately makes them rare and highly desirable. Off-center strikes are another kind of error, where part of the design is missing because the blank planchet was misaligned when struck. These errors create dramatic visuals and collectors pay high prices for them, especially if the date remains visible. Coins struck on the wrong planchet, such as a quarter struck on a nickel or foreign planchet, are incredibly rare and can sell for tens of thousands. Even something as small as a repunched mint mark can make a coin unique enough to command high value. Now combine one of these dramatic errors with a coin preserved in pristine, flawless condition, and you have the recipe for a numismatic superstar. This is how some examples of the 1980 Liberty Quarter Dollar have been valued at astronomical sums, with the rarest examples mentioned in the collector's world at values approaching $92 million. These are coins that are not only metal but history, frozen in time, accidents of the minting process that turned into one-of-a-kind treasures. But beyond errors and rarity there is also the beauty of condition itself. Coin collectors use a grading system from 1 to 70, with 70 representing absolute perfection. Most 1980 quarters that you find in circulation are worn, scratched, or dull, but a few have been carefully preserved in rolls, bags, or sets, never entering circulation. These coins, graded mint state 67, 68, or even higher, are so rare that collectors will pay astonishing prices to own them. A Washington quarter from 1980 with perfect surfaces and blazing luster is a trophy, and only a handful exist at that level. Let us also remember the historical context of this coin. The year 1980 was a time of major change in America. It was the year Ronald Reagan was elected president, marking a political shift in the country. The economy was struggling with inflation, but technology was advancing rapidly. It was the era of the first personal computers, new music, and cultural change. The coins minted during this time carry with them the silent memory of this era passing through the hands of Americans living in a time of transition. Owning a pristine 1980 Liberty quarter dollar is not just about money, it is about holding a piece of history from a pivotal year. Think about the journey of such a coin. A blank planchet fed into the press, struck by powerful dies at the mint in Philadelphia or Denver, released into bags with thousands of others. Some went into circulation, spending years in pockets, purses, and registers. Most became worn and forgotten. But a few were set aside untouched, perhaps by a collector who recognized their quality, perhaps by chance. Decades later, they re-emerge, gleaming, with all their details preserved. If such a coin also carries a rare doubling, an unusual error, or a unique planchet, it suddenly becomes one of the rarest coins in existence, worth more than houses, more than luxury cars, even more than entire fortunes. The market for such coins is driven not only by rarity and condition but also by passion. Collectors are willing to compete fiercely for the opportunity to own something that no one else can have. Auction houses have seen bidding wars drive coins far beyond their estimates. The story of the 1980 quarter reaching into the tens of millions is a reminder of how far people will go for the perfect combination of rarity, beauty, and history. For those of you watching, the lesson here is simple but powerful. Never overlook the coins you have. That jar of change on the kitchen counter, that roll of quarters tucked away in a drawer, might contain something extraordinary. Examine your coins closely. Look at the date, the mint mark, the details of the design. Use a magnifier to check for doubling or other unusual features. Study the surfaces for scratches, luster, and sharpness. If you find something unusual, handle it carefully, place it in a protective holder, and seek expert advice. What looks like an ordinary quarter could in fact be worth a life-changing fortune. The 1980 Liberty quarter dollar reminds us that value does not always match face value. Sometimes the smallest, most ordinary coin can hold the greatest secret. Sometimes a 25-cent piece can be worth millions, even 92 million, not because of the metal it is made of but because of the story it carries, the mistakes that made it unique, and the desire of collectors to own something extraordinary. So the next time you see a quarter from 1980, do not dismiss it as just change. Look closely. You might just be holding history, you might just be holding treasure, you might just be holding the key to a story that can change your life.